welcome to Checkpoint. I'm Rachel Halbert.
I'm Will Strickland.
And I'm Reed Davis, longtime video gamer and beta tester of video games.
Today we're going to talk about our impressions on Yooka-Laylee. Warning, this is a spoiler zone, so if you haven't got a chance to play the game or don't want the first couple of hours spoiled, hit pause and come back whenever you're ready. Now, let's get started. So, Will, you are the one who wanted us to play this game.
Yes.
Can you give us, just give us a little impression of how you felt about it?
Brief impressions. I've been a fan of platformers my whole life, like Jak and Daxter, Tyler Tasmanian Tiger, Ratchet and Clank, stuff like that. So when this game is coming out, I was very excited. My brief impressions is I was hoping to like this a lot more than I did. It's not bad, but it's not good. I don't know. We'll get into it.
Bree, do you want to give us a little impression as well?
I played it, and for the amount that I played, some of the puzzles are challenging, but at times the dialogue and the camera angles kill me.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
To game makers, if you're not going to have actual voice acting in something, please do not just put in a voice sound for every single syllable.
Now my understanding of that is that that's how it was done with the old Rare games, with the old Banjo-Kazooies. They would just make noises.
Yes.
So it seems like, and that's part of the problem that Yooka-Laylee falls into, it seems like it's more fan service to old fans than it is a new game. Like they're trying to cater too much to the nostalgia. And a lot of the quality gets lost because of that.
I think that was like, I wish, like you were saying, I wish they had done a little more because it felt like they were trying to sell the game on the nostalgia.
Right.
Because
we're back.
It was literally every single, like, anytime your character said anything, it was just like a joke on, like, haha, we're being nostalgic.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of just like, okay, we get it.
Right.
And you know, normally platformer games are catered to like the younger crowd and stuff, and this has like a lot of adult themes. And yes, you're right. This is Playtronic is old, Rare. So they're all like trying to do that nostalgia, which is kind of cool, but for modern day games.
Yeah.
Also to an extent, like, once again, we have a lot of games coming out now that are like all these like 8-bit takes on like retro game types, but like they bring in new ideas and new mechanics and storylines, and this just felt like bleh.
Because if you made a game that's supposed to be retro and kept it retro mechanics, it would feel outdated. It would feel clunky because gaming's progressed from there.
Yeah.
And that's where Yooka-Laylee suffers at points. I mean, getting into the camera and the controls, I think the problem is, from what I've been able to tell, it seems like the camera is a physical object behind you and it gets stuck on objects. So it's not something that, it's like an asset in the game that gets stuck on objects. And that makes it very clunky and very easy to mess up. And especially in a platformer, your controls need to be tight and the camera needs to be perfect.
Especially in a platformer that's like in a 3D world where you can just like, there's some areas that are a set progression, but most of them are very open to your own decision.
Right.
Which is an interesting idea, but I don't think it was implemented well.
No.
In the game.
No.
I do like the open aspect of the game, but yes, the camera angles are bad, especially if you're above something and you're trying to look down because you can't see a clear view of what's underneath you trying to get to it.
Yeah, I had I think one of my first like really bad issues was in the very first temple you're in. There's a spot where where you can get to, there's the bottom level and then there's the second level you get to by rolling, and then there's another one that you get to by a platform after you get sonar. And so getting up to that, like the platform goes up and it's a non-stop platform, so it's just going up and down. And so when you get to the top, the camera changes when you get on it, and it changes when you get to the top. When you get to the top, you can't see where you're jumping, so you have to blindly jump.
And another thing, when the camera changes, when the perspective changes, it doesn't keep the controls constant. So if you're going forward and the camera changes to your side, you going forward is now you walking into the wall.
Exactly.
Which again makes it very difficult to jump, to glide, to platform, which is what the game is. So you start to see where the problems come in.
And it confuses me. Once again, they're trying to go on this nostalgia factor. They've said it many times, like, this is like to bring back the nostalgia kind of thing. But the thing is, it's 2017. You can do nostalgia without making a game that has the issues that old games have.
Right.
When you bring back you bring back these past game styles, you make them better. You don't
Right.
bring back all the things that everyone's like, oh, this was so annoying.
And Bree, you kind of touched on it, the writing. The writing
Right.
is not very good.
No, it is not. The writing is. It's like, hey, like the start of the game is like, hey, the book flew away. Oh, I want to go get my book, and this is how it starts.
That's not exaggeration. That's
Yeah.
the story.
I
Which
was really-
platformers, I don't hold stories against them, but they have something.
I was confused about the motivation at first because I was like, well, what's gonna make my character? Because they have the villain as the first
Right. Capital B.
Capital B as the very first part of the game. That's the first cutscene you see. But then you like cut to Yooka and Laylee just like chilling. I'm like, how are these gonna connect?
Right.
And I really didn't get told. The other
No.
they're like, oh, I guess we got to go get that book we just randomly
Right.
found.
And again, a platformer is not relying on a story, but don't even attempt to have a story at that point. Just make it solely, you are just here to collect pages and climb things.
Also, the level progression was really confusing to me.
Very confusing.
Because
Yeah.
if you're trying to be like old games, most old games did it where you beat a level, you moved on to another level. And you later on, after you went through so many levels, you could come back and do new things in
Right.
old levels. This way, it was you're in one level, and then you get to expand that level
Right.
and expand and expand and expand. And like to an extent, like I can kind of see that, but at the same time, the reason why you would do it where you go from level to level and then back is because people get bored.
Right.
Like, I don't want to be in
Right.
the same setting forever. I feel like it's just nonstop. Like, let me move on to the ice world, and then whatever's after that, because I didn't get that far, I'm going to be honest.
Me neither.
Move on to whatever's after that, and then like come back later with like new powers from that to get on to this. Don't just keep adding powers
Yeah.
in one level. It didn't make sense.
And Bree, you've been playing games for a long time. When you
Right.
think about the level progression of Yooka-Laylee and compare it to basically what is the standard, which is Super Mario 64, what do you think about that? Because I feel like Mario 64 does a good job of confining the space, and you have one goal each time, and it's easy to organize.
I played a lot of Mario 64
Right.
due to my brother keep on racing my game when I almost had 100 stars. So I know that game very well.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, Mario 64, it would take you back to the main area, but at least you could go to different worlds
Right.
and go on. Where Yooka-Laylee, like you said, it keeps expanding and expanding, which is an interesting idea, but I also agree with you. You get tired of the same
Yeah.
area after a while. You want to do something else. Like I literally came out of that world and started exploring
I
the
tried to
main
get somewhere
area.
else,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
couldn't get anywhere else.
My standard is Jack and Daxter when it comes to platformers. That was like the first platformer I played as a kid. I love that game. And that game, it's not necessarily open world, but you feel like you're in a forest, like unique environments, and they're pretty open, but there's still like defined spaces. And whether they're defined by a door or a hill or something natural like that, it's still easy to feel like you're not overwhelmed. And it's still easy to feel like I've done what I need to here, and then go there, and then go there. But in Yooka-Laylee, once you've expanded, at least the first world that I've done, it's just massive, and it's so easy to lose track of where you are. And it's also really easy, because of the camera angles, to fall and lose your progress, and your checkpoints aren't that good. So if you fall and die on the ground, you respawn on the ground. You don't respawn where you were. So it's hard to like be motivated to get this stuff done.
Yeah, no, I had that same exact problem where it's like, oh, like I like miss a jump because I can't see it because
Right.
the camera angle
Yeah.
is bad, and then like it takes me back because, like you said, there's barely any checkpoints, and it's not an obvious checkpoint system. It's
No.
like I happened to go through a cave and that ended up being a checkpoint, but before that, all I'd experienced was having to go back to the very beginning of
Yeah.
the level.
Yeah, for me, it was like I would do like something like a area inside a different section, and then I'll come out and I run all across the map and trying to do a jump, fall,
Yeah.
and it takes me back to the entrance
Right.
of the area
Right.
that I was at, and I'm like, dude, I gotta run all the way back here.
Another issue I had with the level design, like back on the Nintendo 64, they would have the open world, and then you'd go into like the black holes. They're just caves that have separate worlds, and they had to do that because you couldn't fit that much on screen at one time, so
Yeah.
you load it separately. There's no point to do that now on the PS4 other than to try to make it retro. But that's just kind of breaking up the flow of the game, and it's hard to keep track of where you were because those caves are pretty well hidden, and you don't know what's in it until you're there, so it's hard to keep track and see what you've accomplished. So there's no point other than the nostalgia factor to separate the level like that. So I thought that was a bad decision on their part.
Yeah, completely. And like I said, I cannot just look past having to listen to every single one of those cutscenes.
Yeah.
That was just,
Yeah.
like I said, having to just like, boy, like, that noise on every single syllable.
I'm gonna get
really
my notes
got me.
out. I made more notes.
Oh, great.
Um,
It's not a phone, it's just notes, guys.
What were you gonna say?
That was the first thing I noticed. Like, started the game, I was like, guys, y'all can afford voice actors.
Whatever
You
it is.
can't skip.
You can't skip the dialogue,
you can't
right?
Make it go faster.
No.
It scrolls slow.
Yes.
That's slow text.
And I guess you get kind of used to it until like you meet new characters and they do weird things, and it's just like, please
Right.
kill me. No,
Right.
Stop it.
Another issue I had with the writing specifically was the fourth wall jokes got old so fast.
Oh my
and
God.
Laylee, the bat, she's like your sidekick, and she's supposed to be the comedic relief, but none of her lines are funny. They're all bad. So, and she always tries to get in like a sassy little remark and try to almost like insult the person you're talking to, but it's not funny. And it's usually, like there was one point, you're in the first level, and Laylee says something about the boss in the level 3 worlds from now. But that's not even remotely funny.
Yeah.
There's no way that's enjoyable.
It feels like we're going back to like Mass Effect. Shameless plug, we have a Mass Effect review.
Check that out if you want.
Going back to that, like it feels like we're going back to having characters that just like they don't understand their purpose or their dialogue, and it's just like to the point where it's annoying. Like I am like I don't like it's not funny. It's not a funny joke. What happened to like funny writing? Like did all the funny writers? I mean, the
old Rare games were funny. They were very clever, especially you think Conker's Bad Fur Day. That was very clever writing.
Very clever and very clever.
And it seems like this game is obviously people that worked on the old Rare titles, and it seems like they haven't worked together on a project like this since then. And it seems like the rust was not shaken off before they made this game. It's rough around the edges a lot.
If you go to their website, like they have a whole page like, hey, all of our people worked on these games, and then that's it.
Right.
That's basically the website.
Right.
So.
And that's mostly the Playtronic side. You had felt like Team 17 would have helped.
The publisher, yeah.
But
yeah.
No.
So I do think this is not a bad game. So what are some good things you guys, if there are good things you like about the game?
Let's let you go first.
I mean, like you, I'm a fan of platformers, and it's kind of refreshing to see a new platformer, so I give it that much, but I have to agree, some of the other things really downplayed the game.
It had a lot of potential. I think that's the most disappointing part.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, this game was kickstarted. They were asking for like $200,000 and got $2.2 million. So this was highly anticipated and it had a lot of potential.
Yeah.
It just seems like it.
I mean, and like it's very pretty. I love the art style
pretty.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I just wish they used it better.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know you earlier that you were looking forward to this a lot.
Right.
Do you think you'll play it more in the future?
I'll definitely play it more. I was hoping that this would be a game where I'd be like, I want 100% it, want to do everything. But my biggest gripe is the camera, but also the rolling mechanics, I feel like are some of the worst controls I've ever experienced in a platformer. And that's such a large part of the game. I just don't see myself collecting all the pages where you have to roll up a ramp for it. It just seems ridiculous. And I think you kind of touched on it a little bit. I think this game is good for the platformer genre because this just came out and I'm pretty sure it sold pretty well. It's reviewed okay. Psychonauts 2 is coming out. That's really anticipated. PlayStation just re-released the Jak and Daxter trilogy and they're re-releasing Crash. So I think at least PlayStation is really looking at these games, seeing how they sell, and thinking about what can we do in the future with the genre.
And I think that's a good point. That's all we have time for today. We want to know what you guys think of Yooka-Laylee. Let us know in the comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out more episodes of Checkpoint as well as our weekly news show, Glitched.
I do that.
He does that, yes. You can also like our page at facebook.com/glitch.news. And with that, our checkpoint has been reached. Thanks for watching.